Switching gears isn't a bad thing. If something is not going the way you had hoped, it doesn't hurt to pivot. So, with that in mind, I'm announcing that I am putting Restless Spirits Book 3 on hold temporarily in favor of working on Battleborn Bride. The reason for this is that JT made the excellent point this morning that Restless Spirits Book 3, for all intents and purposes, the first draft is written and it just needs revisions. And I can set that aside without really worrying about the manuscript for now. But if I want to get Battleborn Bride out in October, I need to start working on that sooner rather than later because the book will contain a lot of historical references. I need to create a timeline, so that's what I'm doing today. I'm creating a timeline to fill in the background of the story, and then I'm going to start writing. I'm hoping to do maybe a quick draft of the book to get it done before we hit the road. And maybe while I'm on the road, hopefully I can have some beta readers look it over. That way it can go into edits sooner rather than later because our editorial service has been booked up, which is great. We're happy for them, but it can throw off our schedule. So I want to make sure the book is ready to go to edits in time to get it out in October. Plus, I will also need cover design. And as JT pointed out, I can play around with that on my own since I do have an idea in mind, but I may need to enlist the services of more professional artists than myself to do the cover. So that could also delay the release of the book. So, with that in mind, and based on JT's excellent recommendation, I am putting Restless Spirits Book 3 on hold for the moment and focusing my time and attention on Battleborn Bride. And I'm actually very excited about this because I have been looking forward to Battleborn Bride. I think I have mentioned that I am planning to switch it from a historical adult romance to a historical young adult. Maybe a little bit of romance, but not as heavy. It's going to be much more historic than romance. And I'm hoping that it may be something that um, kids in our local area might enjoy reading to learn more about how Nevada became a state because I'm focusing I'm focusing specifically on the two Nevada constitutional conventions, so in 1863 and 1864, and Nevada statehood, which happened on October 31st, 1864. So it will be an interesting story, I think. I have a lot of background knowledge already based on my time working at the Nevada State Archives because the State Archives does maintain the original Nevada State Constitution, and I was very happy to be able to work with documents from that time period. So later on, I may go back to the archives to flesh out a few things, but for right now, I'm just diving in. I'm creating a timeline, and then I'm going to have my characters reacting to the events that are happening during that time period. So it could be very interesting. It will include references to Mark Twain because he was in Nevada at that time. He left in May of 1864. So there are things that he does while he is in Nevada that directly trigger, I guess you might say, one of the characters in my book. So that is something that will be a very big part of the story, along with all of the other things that are happening in Nevada at that time. And I do feel that it's going to be a lot of fun revisiting Nevada history in that period because I don't work with it on a daily basis anymore. And I do feel a little bit, I don't know, like I'm missing doing that historic research. So for many reasons, I am excited about the process of working on Battleborn Bride. I'm going to be focusing very heavily on that for the next few weeks. So you may see a series of videos where I talk about how I'm working through the process of writing this book. I may throw in a few brief historic videos just discussing some of the time periods that will be included in the book because I don't want to take time away from that to do more history-related videos outside of the house, but that may come later in the year. So if you want to follow along and learn more about how Nevada became a state, then stay tuned to this channel. Now, at the moment, Battleborn Bride is going to be a standalone book, but if I do turn it into a series, what I may do is a statehood series and start out on the West Coast, probably, maybe do histories of how each state joined the Union, and follow a similar format where I heavily research that state's founding and how the Constitution and everything played out. I will say that the Nevada State Constitution is based heavily on the California Constitution because a lot of people came back to Nevada after the great influx of 49ers when the gold played out. They came back to Nevada for the Comstock lode when silver was discovered here. So a lot of people had gone to California in the first place, come back to Nevada, and they wanted to basically start with at least a structure of a constitution instead of creating one from scratch. So that will factor into the story as well. The fact that some of the people who are here in Carson City at that time period were living in California. There is a lot of people who were coming in recently due to the Comstock boom, and so there are a lot of people who are not really what you would call Nevada natives, which continues to this day. Nevada has been a very transient state for many, many years, and it is a result of that is that a lot of interesting characters have passed through the Silver State. So that includes, of course, Mark Twain, who came here as Sam Clemens, became Mark Twain in Nevada. He first used that pen name here, and he tagged along with his brother Orion, who was named Territorial Secretary of Nevada. So that will also factor into the story. And as you can tell, I'm pretty worked up about the historic elements of this book. So I want to make sure that I am able to do this book justice. I want to make something that will be a great reference for people who want to dive into Nevada history. I'm not going to go too deeply into a lot of that backstory of the history, but I do want to have a reliable historic framework, and I will be including historical figures, I will be including historical locations, I will be including historical events in the book, and then I will put at least a brief maybe bibliography in the back of the book where people will be able to find more detailed information about those things. So that is my plan for Battleborn Bride, because I am switching gears as recommended by my awesome husband to get the book done in time. And then I'm looking forward to October to having a big release that will be hand in hand with our Nevada Day celebration. I have already kind of mentioned to someone with Sierra Arts that I would like to do a book release party in October at the Riverside Gallery. So that could be a lot of fun. I may plan other release parties related to Nevada Day at other locations. We'll see how that goes. So this could become a big splash, hopefully. We'll see how it is, but I really think it could be a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that this book will find a readership of people who are curious to learn more about Nevada and Nevada statehood. I'm also hoping by making it a young adult book that it could be used by students to just at least give them a basic idea of how Nevada became a state in case they want to start researching that for themselves. And I'm also hoping that even though it will be a young adult, it will be of interest to people of all ages, because not a lot of people really know about that point in history based on Nevada. And another thing that JT mentioned is that it will have references to events that are happening during the Civil War, because even though the actual fighting was not happening in the Western US, the things that were happening in the East were affecting people who were in Nevada. And the main character in my book will have come to Nevada for a reason that was directly related to an event that happened in the Civil War. So there will be a little bit of Civil War history thrown in there as well. Again, not too deeply detailed, but specific time frames of what is happening during that 1863, 1864 period here in Nevada, and how maybe events outside of the state were playing into what was happening here. So that's probably a lot more information than you wanted about the book at this point. As I said, I am diving right into creating my framework. I'm doing a historical timeline that I probably will also include in the book. And I'm foreseeing the book playing out over a period of days that will have had a historic event of some type happening, and how the main character in my book responds to those events. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited, as you might be able to tell, and I'm hoping that other people will be excited to read it. I know at least a couple people I used to work with, my former supervisor, for example. I may ask her to read the book when it's in edits so that she can give me a little bit of an idea of whether or not I've portrayed the time period correctly, because she worked in archives much longer than I did, and is also familiar with some of the locations in other places that will be included in the book. So I will be having help, I hope, from people who have historic backgrounds or backgrounds in history, and just to make sure that everything is accurate, because I'm using primary source materials, primary source knowledge, but I'm not including a lot of the real deep details of those materials. Those are things that people can actually go and explore for themselves if they find that they're very interested in the story. So that's what's going on. That's why I'm switching gears. I think I mentioned, if not in this video, a previous one, that JT has put Sheriff in Nevada Book 4 on the shelf for the moment. He's currently working on the book he hopes to release in July, and he has another book planned separate from his current releases that he will be working on until he's inspired to get back to Sheriff. So we are down one book on that side because he had planned to release Sheriff in October, but October is going to be all about Battleborn Bride now. And then Restless Spirits Book 3, I'm hoping to release it this year still. It may not be in September as I had planned, but it may be shifted to December. We'll see. It depends on how I'm able to get Battleborn Bride done, how soon I'm able to get Battleborn Bride done. Because, as I said, I'm going to be doing some historic deep dives, even though not a lot of that information will actually be in the book. I need to have the mental framework to make sure that everything is as accurate as I can make it. So, with all that said, I hope you're having a wonderful week. I hope that you will be excited to follow along on this journey as I'm working on my historical young adult book. As JT pointed out, this is also something of a new genre for me. I have written in similar genres, but I haven't gone into the modern young adult market. And since it is a historical young adult, it will be interesting. I need to make sure that I am meeting some of the parameters of that genre and that age group to hopefully make this a marketable book, because I really think it could be something fun and something exciting. So thank you for joining me. I hope you are having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. I'm Cassidy Carson, and this is The Life of a Writer. Take care.